Plot Summaries. Prologue. 2 years after taking to the stars, the interstellar vessel known as the White Whale was attacked by alien aggressors, crash landing on an uncharted planet. 2 months later, a human who escaped during the crash was rescued at Starfall Basin, awakened from sleep by a woman named Elma. Elma and Cross took out some dangerous indigents en route and soon arrived at the habitat unit that detached from the White Whale, New Los Angeles. Mira. This was the name given to the planet that would be humanity's new home. Chapter 1. Having arrived back in NLA, Elma and Cross headed for the administrative district, which would serve as their area of residence from that point on. Elma's team met with Lynn, and Cross was given a general introduction to Blade, a paramilitary group established alongside the provisional government. Upon learning its purpose, Cross mulls over the idea of enlisting. Chapter 2. Having chosen to join Blade, Cross is given their first mission, installing a data probe. Elma's team sets out for the placement site, situated in Primordia. Cross successfully planted the data probe at the designated Frontier Nav probe placement site. They returned to Blade HQ, whereupon they became acquainted with Blade's commander, Vandam. Chapter 3. After picking a division, Cross is given a new assignment to assist Elma in locating Nelson's team, whose signal fell silent somewhere in Primordia. During their mission, Elma's team encountered some prone, Xenos with a fierce antipathy towards humans, who had butchered Nelson's entire team. By chance, they also stumbled upon a young Nopon named Tatsu in need of assistance. Vandam asked the team to look after him, and so a new friendship was born. Chapter 4. Vandam informed Elma's team of a signal coming from Noctilum that appeared to originate from a piece of the Lifehold. To get the search underway, the party sets out to meet Lau, who is currently installing data probes in the area. With Elsiduf's guidance, Elma's team arrived at the Lifehold unit, only to see it destroyed at the hands of Goetia and her prone lackeys. Fortunately, it was just an archive unit that they had blown up and not the core itself, but with this new and present threat from the Ganglion Syndicate made clear, the search for the Lifehold is now more urgent than ever. Chapter 5. With Irina and Gwyn away on a different mission, Elma's team has been left to pick up the slack. They head out to Oblivia to examine a xenoform craft that the Ganglion purportedly attacked. Elma's team was able to fend off the Ganglion and extract the Manon, but not before Cross lost an arm. In a surprising turn of events, the arm turned out to be robotic. Cross then learned that the entire crew of the White Whale had artificial bodies called mimeosomes, and that their real bodies were being held in the Lifehold core, which would lose power when the counter on Blade Tower reached 0. If they didn't find the Lifehold in time, humanity would perish. This was the reason for their desperation. Chapter 6. Elma's team have been tasked with retrieving a mech of alien origin, abandoned deep in the heart of Noctilum. There's just one problem. It lies in a den of tainted indigents who devour anything that breathes. The team set out regardless, trusting that their inorganic mims will grant them safe passage. You successfully retrieved the alien mech, but many of its parts were anomalous, making it difficult to fully identify. Meanwhile, Grandmaster Luxar, leader of the Ganglion, began plotting his next move. Chapter 7. A piece of the Lifehold has been found in Oblivia. It's not the Lifehold core, but Irina and her team were sent to investigate and have been reportedly caught in a Ganglion ambush. Elma's team moves out. The attack had been orchestrated by Ganglion Commander Goetia, who had used the Lifehold unit as a lure to lead humans into a trap when they came looking. Elma's team were able to defeat Goetia, but for some reason, the Ganglion seemed to know that the Lifehold core's power was going to run out. It was clear that something even deeper rooted than hatred compelled the Ganglion's animosity towards humans. Chapter 8. A division of Ganglion forces have suddenly begun marching on NLA. Elma's team takes up position at the entrance to the administrative district. Blade forces successfully repelled the Ganglions' attack and saved New LA, though not without great sacrifice. The Ganglions' real objective, however, was to take back the alien scale that had been recovered in Noctilum. How could they have known that humans had brought it back, and the exact location in which it was kept? A possibility flickers across Elma's mind. Chapter 9. Another piece of the life hold has been found on the continent of Silvalum, situated to the north of NLA. As the designated survey team, Elma's unit heads out to the site to rendezvous with Lau's advance party. Not only was there no life hold, but the Ganglion had Rothian mercenaries lying in wait. A hard-fought battle against their leader, Gajarg, apparently satisfied him as he divulged to Elma's team some valuable information: the location of the Ganglion headquarters. He claimed that they lie to the north of Silvalum, in a shadowy land of rock and fire. The teams returned to NLA with an injured Lau in tow. First the stolen Vita, now an ambush. It was all too pat. Elma begins to suspect an informant, and that it might actually be Lau. Chapter 10. Having combed the scene of the ambush, the Pathfinders found clear signs of Frontier nav data being tampered with. It was now evident there was a mole in Blade's ranks. Elma's team receives a new assignment to repair a data probe in Silvalum. Elma's team arrived only to be attacked by the Zoo Farg, an enormous flying disc manned by Reese and Dogon. They successfully defeated the Dreadnought, but time was wearing thin. They had to find the Lifehold core and return to their own bodies ASAP if they were to stand a chance of defeating the Ganglion. Chapter 11. Seizing the data terminal calculating the Lifehold core's coordinates, Lau flees NLA, outing himself as the Ganglion spy. Elma's team races after him to the Ganglion HQ in Kaldros. Lau revealed that he had assisted the Ganglion in their plot to eradicate humanity because of the rage and despair at the deceit and corruption underpinning Project Exodus. Nevertheless, after his defeat, he claimed to have changed his mind and handed the data terminal to Lin. They left Lau where he lay, returning to NLA to analyze the data ASAP. Chapter 12. With the location of the Lifehold core revealed at last, all available Blade operatives are issued the order to sortie. As the Ganglions storm the Lifehold core, the battle for the fate of humanity begins. With Luxar defeated, Blade forces safely secured the Lifehold core and activated its auxiliary power system. Elma then revealed her true identity and the truth behind Project Exodus. Later, Elma headed to the database chamber, where humanity's consciousness was stored, only to find that it had stopped functioning long before they had ever arrived on Mira. The system was in shambles, and no trace of their consciousness or memories remained. And yet, the MIMs were still operating. There was something about this planet. Chapter 13, Act 1. Hardly any time had passed since the Lifehold core incident, when a new threat known as dematerialization reared its head. Elma's team races to understand the nature of this phenomenon as it expands, engulfing everything in its path. From the ghosts that appeared with the dematerialization, to the Vita's assault and the return of the hero, Alois Bernholt, Blade have their work cut out for them. And as a mysterious entity named Void declares a contest in which survival is the prize, the wheel begins to turn once again as humanity is pushed to the brink. Chapter 13, Act 2. DMAT events. Ghosts. Ganglion remnants. With all manner of threats in full view, a second Project Exodus is put into motion to reclaim the cores Void stole and jump from Mira to another world. With Elma at the helm, all Blade personnel set about assisting the construction of an escape vessel and supporting any xenoforms that would be willing to move to NLA. With the cooperation of the Manon and other xenoforms, at last the new escape vessel, the White Whale 2, is complete, as is the relocation of all willing sentient races. The plan enters its final stage. Chapter 13, Act 3. More ghosts manifest as dematerialization hits NLA, prompting the immediate launch of the White Whale 2, which must now enact a daring escape. Elma and her troops engage the approaching ghost swarms to keep the White Whale 2 and evacuees safe. With Ares' cores recovered and Void no more, the survivors engage the jump drive and depart the universe in its final throes. What awaits them in the next one? Characters. Cross. Rescued by Elma at Starfall Basin, this human survived a dire crash landing after their life pod was jettisoned from the White Whale during its fateful descent. To their misfortune, they have suffered memory loss and are unable to recall anything but their name. Elma, leader of a team within Blade, a paramilitary group. Rational and level-headed, her attention to detail and sound judgment have earned her great respect among her subordinates. Elma, true form. Elma was revealed to be a xenoform who visited Earth 30 years ago in the hope of saving humanity from war between a ganglion-led interstellar federation and another alien race. Technological marvels such as skells, arcs capable of faster-than-light travel, mimeosomes, and even the life hold are all based on extraterrestrial science provided by Elma. Lynn. Something of a child prodigy, Lynn's engineering expertise and contributions to Skell development have made her indispensable to Elma's team in her role as chief mechanic. Tatsu. An adolescent male Napon, member of a species indigenous to Mira. After being freed from prone captivity by Elma's team, Tatsu chose to join the team of his own accord. Irina. A Blade operative from the Interceptors division. Despite her no-nonsense personality, Irina shows great compassion for Mira's inhabitants and considers it her duty to protect them. Gwyn. A Blade operative from the Interceptors division. Gwyn looks up to his commanding officer Irina and devotes himself to constant training in the hope that he might one day be able to protect her, though a lack of ability has prevented him from fully realizing this noble goal thus far. Doug. A Blade operative from the Harriers division. As a fighter, Doug is a proficient all-rounder, but shines particularly brightly when seated in the cockpit of a Skell. Back on Earth, he served under Elma as part of the Coalition Force's Special Operations Heavy Armor Training Unit, aka the Skeleton Crew. Lau. A team leader belonging to paramilitary group Blade, whose battle chops and decision-making have caught even Elma's attention. He and Doug were fellow soldiers in the U.S. Army. Lau, declassified. When he learned of the conspiracy behind Project Exodus and found that his wife and child were unable to board the White Whale, Lau was plunged into the depths of despair. Soon thereafter, he began working as a spy for the Ganglion, aiding them in their mission to wipe humanity from existence. El. Full name El Siruf. El is a Miran native and prolific inventor. He has long made a living by selling the products he designs to the Nopon and other indigenous races. Brimming with curiosity, he welcomes humans with open arms. For some reason, he also has a vast knowledge of idioms, most of which he gets wrong. Al. Pilot of the Ares and hero who saved the White Whale. Al was declared MIA after the crash landing on Mira, but miraculously returned from the rift between worlds. Nagi. Former White Whale captain, now NLA Defense Secretary, Nagi governs tirelessly to make life on Mira tolerable. He is also an EI Jutsu master, some say the best combatant in all of Blade. Vandam. Commander of paramilitary group Blade, the big-hearted Vandam's training regiments can be brutal. But Secretary Nagi's trust and the respect Blade affords him speak volumes. Previously served as the White Whale's chief engineer. Maurice. Former defense minister of the United States and later aide to the president, Maurice Chasson leaned on the experience he gained on Earth to name himself Director General of the newly founded Provisional Government and become the representative of humanity on planet Mira. Celica. A kind-hearted Clurian who drifted to Mira along with Rock. Celica's gentle demeanor and sense of responsibility drive her to endlessly protect her counterpart from any kind of conflict. Rock. A young Gower male on the run from the Ganglion with Celica. Though big and strong, Rock is very much a child and cannot fight to defend himself. He thinks of Celica as an older sister. Hope Alonzi, a Blade operative from the Mediators Division. Hope is revered throughout New LA for her selfless devotion to helping citizens with their troubles. HB, a Blade operative from the Pathfinders Division. Hector Birtwhistle is a logical man armed with untiring ambition. He has his sights set on the position of Blade Commander, and therefore sees Vandom as his rival. His rival, however, has little interest in his provocations. Yelv, a Blade operative from the Reclaimers Division. Foul-mouthed and quick-tempered, Yelv isn't a typical example of Blade's finest, though he will open his heart to those he respects. Similar to the protagonist, he has some issues with his memories of past events. Fry, a Blade operative from the Interceptors Division. The perilous missions he takes have earned him the moniker Killer Ostrich, often found at the local diner knocking back an off-duty drink. Fog Kristoff, a Blade operative from the Prospectors Division. Fog has the makings of a genius, but is quite shy and adheres to his own rhythm. As such, he prefers to carry out assignments alone. Alexa, a Blade operative from the Outfitters Division, Alexa primarily engages in weapon testing for arms manufacturers. She loves machines and gadgets above all else, and is happiest when in a Skell cockpit. Murderess, a Blade operative from the Reclaimers Division. Skilled though she is, the Murderess would backstab anyone for a price. No operative wants to team up with her if they can help it. Bose Lowe's, a Blade operative from the Harriers Division. Bose is a veteran soldier with a service record dating back to Coalition Army days. He went on to become a military academy instructor and trained many active Blades. Bose is also deeply interested in certain facets of Eastern Earth culture. Neil Nail, a Clerian archaeologist studying xenoform civilizations. Her warm, affable nature makes her easy to get along with. As a scholar, she is curious to learn about human customs. Neil Nail, High Custodian. The High Custodian, who sits at the top of the Clerian social hierarchy. Tasked with investigating and, if it be deemed necessary, destroying the remnants of alien civilizations that once received the gift of her Clerian ancestors' hyper-advanced technology. Liesel, a test pilot hired by an arms manufacturer, Liesel was involved in the development of Hresvelg, a new Skell. Once a member of the German Air Force, she has something of an abrasive side to her, but behind it lies a warm and caring personality. Mia, a junior Blade who is still learning the ropes, but has managed to survive a number of trials with a touch of luck and lots of tenacity. Her next goal is to be placed on the same team with a particular operative she looks up to. Luxar, a xenoform who opposes humanity, and Grand Master of the crime syndicate known as the Ganglion, Luxar is driven by a roiling hatred for all humans, and an equal measure of fear. Goetia, a ruthless and bloodthirsty xenoform Ganglion commander. Goetia destroyed the Lifehold fragment which had landed in the Noctilum region, thereafter engaging Elma's unit in battle. Reese, a xenoform Ganglion commander who made an appearance on the front line during the attack on NLA, posing an obstacle to Elma and her team. Reese is a quick-tempered and highly vindictive individual. Dagon, a Ganglion commander paired with Reese, capable of outclassing a Skell with his raw strength alone. Void, a primordial entity, creator of the Ares Prime and ringleader of the Ganglion. He gathered together the Ganglion remnants across Mira and proceeded to challenge humanity to a battle which would determine their survival. Void, Samarian. Born long ago as a citizen of Samar, Void studied the ultimate matter, the conduit, and with it crafted the Ares. But in doing so, he awakened the ghosts, and as punishment, was confined by other Samarians in the rift between worlds. Gajarg, a Rothian mercenary who works for the Ganglion. During the attack on NLA, he cut down Blade forces by the dozen with superlative martial prowess and took the Vita back by force. Gajarg, allied, Leader of the Rothian mercenaries and former prince, Gajarg rejected the Ganglion to side with the humans, a believer in loyalty and honor and a true warrior, whose virtues impress his people and his second, Gabuid. Gabuid, a Rothian who has served as Gajarg's right hand since childhood, Gabuid is a woman of few words who always puts her prince first, a model deputy commander. Races. Humans. Homo sapiens, originated from the third planet of their native solar system, Earth. Nopon, a peace-loving people said to have lived on Mira since time immemorial. Most Nopon belong to a collective known as the Nopon Commerce Guild. They make their living by conducting business across the diverse regions of Mira. Manon, a race whose highly advanced technology differs from that of Earth's. Stranded on Mira due to navigational trouble, the Manon were consequently attacked by the Ganglion, at which point Elma's team stepped in to save them. They are a highly inquisitive people, and they happen to have a particular penchant for pizza. Prone, a race divided into two separate clans, the Tree Clan and the Cavern Clan. Despite a long history of rivalry, both clans remained evenly balanced, until one day the Cavern Clan tipped the scales by forming an alliance with the Ganglion. As a result, the Tree Clan were ousted from their home. Rothians, a race from the Roth star system who possess powerful bodies and exceptional martial ability. They were once hailed as a great power, until a Ganglion plot brought them to their knees. Having lost their homeland, the Rothians were left with no choice but to serve the Ganglion as mercenaries to ensure their survival. Clurians. Hailing from the Clue system, the Clurians, or Clue, are a highly scientifically advanced civilization and devout worshippers of ancient Samar. Nowadays, they are a sequestered society and are rarely found to interact with other star systems. The Clue are grown in artificial womb plants and are birthed in a very impersonal manner. Gower, a race notable for their huge bodies, which match Skells in size and can exceed them in power. Their physique is intimidating, even when still adolescent, as is the case with Rock. Orpheans, an advanced race who worship the Ova. Though different in physiology from humans, Orpheans are known to be highly intelligent. They deemed war an illogical concept long ago and have since abandoned all thought of conflict. Their technological capabilities are on par with the Manon. Zaru Bogan. Hailing from planet Bedun, the Zaru Bogan worship a being known as Golboga. The suits they wear allow them to adapt to any environment, no matter how hostile. Curiously, they exist to, in their words, devoltanize the areas of the world which have gone voltant. Definians, a covert force working under the Ganglion. Their ability to assume the forms of other creatures makes them excellently suited for infiltration missions. Organizations. Blade, a paramilitary group established to replace coalition government forces. The letters are an acronym for Builders of a Legacy After the Destruction of Earth. The term was coined by Secretary Nagi. Provisional Government. After crash landing on Mira, the coalition government was disbanded in favor of this new self-governing body, which now runs NLA under Director General Chasson's leadership. Skeleton Crew, a more pithy name for the Special Operations Heavy Armor Training Unit, an instructional entity from the coalition government era. Elma, Irina, Gwyn, and Doug were all members. Divisions. The 8 fields into which Blade duties are classified. Blade's primary goals are to locate the Lifehold, explore Mira, and maintain order in NLA. The division a Blade member belongs to determines the exact type of work they most commonly engage in. Pathfinders, a division with a focus on installing data probes and expanding the Frontier Nav network. Interceptors, a division tasked with culling indigens on Mira. They are also hired in a secondary capacity to protect teams on expeditions, guard VIPs, and rescue NLA citizens. Harriers, a division in charge of eliminating tyrants, indigens that pose an extreme threat, even by Miran standards. If the Interceptors are the defense, the Harriers are most certainly the offense. Reclaimers, a division that seeks out and retrieves pieces of the white whale scattered around Mira, also responsible for recovering personal effects and material left behind after a battle. Curators, a division that scouts out unexplored territory on Mira, bringing back whatever samples they are able to acquire. Prospectors, a division that provides the necessary amenities for the people of NLA, seeking out minerals, resources, and more. Outfitters, a division designed to broadly assist arms manufacturers however they can. This can range from general support to testing prototype weaponry. Mediators, a division whose primary duty is to resolve civilian disputes in NLA, be it intervening in a quarrel or finding a lost cat. The mediator must be ready to tackle almost anything. Arms manufacturer, a term which applies to any business that engages in the development of skell and ground gear weaponry. Sakuraba Industries, central pillar of the Sakuraba Group conglomerate. Sakuraba firearms exhibit remarkable stability and accuracy, qualities which exemplify the design ethos of their creators. Granada Galactic Group. This new AM is an avid investor in beam tech research. Its best sellers are weapons that emphasize quick cooldowns and protective wear that offers high beam resistance. Meredith & Co., an innovative user of ganglion tech in the weapon design field. Its products have made waves for their ability to harness ether, a feat which has hitherto proven difficult for human technology. Candid and Credible. This man-on-arms manufacturer specializes in solid defense gear and is aiming to expand its market with its lineup of electric weapons. Nopon Commerce Guild, a commerce guild started by the enterprising Nopon. Most of their products are thermal weapons that have been tuned to deliver greater magazine capacity. Orphean Technologies, an AM made up of Orpheans who defected from the Ganglion to NLA. Their gear's architecture differs greatly from standard human tech. High evasion protective wear is their prime focus. Factory 1.21, a privately owned arms manufacturer known for the unique aesthetics and singular craftsmanship of its custom-made products. It has quickly built up a cult following of supporters. 6 Stars, branch office of a Rothian conglomerate that monopolized the weapons market on its home planet. Its mainstay lineup boasts high-power weapons and armor with high physical resistance. Samar Federation, an interstellar union whose reach extends across the vastness of space in a 6 million light-year radius. The Ganglion are but a subset of it, leaving the Federation's true scope unknown. Ganglion, a criminal syndicate made up of a number of different xenoforms. With Luxar, their appointed Grand Master, their tyranny knows no limits, seeking not just to erase humanity from existence, but also to subjugate other races and force them into servitude. Ganglion, artificial life forms. Artificial life forms, which the ancient Sumarians created to do their bidding. Their bodies were implanted with a failsafe, acting as an emergency off switch, should they turn violent. The key to that failsafe was the very DNA of humans, the descendants of Samar. In fear of this fact, the Ganglions sought to erase all humans before they could leave their mimeosomes and return to their original biological bodies. Ghosts, an unknown enemy force that manifests itself wherever dematerialization occurs. Present at both the destruction of Earth and of Elma's homeworld, they are harbingers of ruin. According to Elma, ghosts have no apparent will of their own and are, in essence, the universe's corrective system. Abilities and weapons. Skell, capable of fully shifting between humanoid combat mode and vehicular cruise mode, these mobile weapons can be fitted with different equipment for a wide variety of combat applications. Initially developed following a prediction that the Earth would one day need to defend itself against extraterrestrial threats, Skells also greatly contributed to the restoration of NLA. Flight Module, a module developed by Lynn, which enables Skells to fly. Seeking to complete her parents' research, she gained the support of the Manon and Sakuraba Industries, and after much tweaking and tinkering, at last succeeded in bringing the project to fruition. White Whale. the nickname for Earth escape vessel L-002. Though able to depart Earth 2 years ago, the ship was later damaged in an alien attack and eventually became grounded on Mira. White Whale 2. A new escape vessel built to enact a second Project Exodus by incorporating the Ares' jump drive into the Man-On mothership, the only thing large enough to carry all races. Lifehold. The facility in which all of humanity is believed to lie sleeping. When the White Whale fell, pieces of the Lifehold broke off from the ship, raining down across Mira. In addition to housing human bodies, the units also contain various databases which store precious data, such as literary records from back on Earth. Frontier Nav. Conceived as a modular exploration system for uncharted planets, the Frontier Nav system allows information to be relayed through data probes installed across Mira to NLA. Expanding the Frontier Nav network is one of Blade's primary objectives, as it both helps toward maintaining a stable life on Mira and is indispensable for locating Lifehold units. Segment. On the Frontier Nav network, a segment refers to a bounded block used to identify Mira's topographical features. Data probe. A device used to relay information about Mira to the Frontier Nav system. To install one, it must be firmly planted in the ground. IFF, short for Identification, Friend, or Foe. As the name suggests, this device is able to discern between hostile and friendly entities. Follow Ball. A super-secret must-have no-pun item. Guides you if you lose your way, but it apparently doesn't always work as intended. Mimeosome. Mimeosomes, or MIMS for short, are artificial bodies tougher than that of a human's, which can be operated remotely from one's biological body, even as it sleeps in the Lifehold. Bioplasma. The name of the bluish liquid that flows through mimeosome bodies. If it leaks, the MIM will suffer from greatly reduced functions. Worst case, it could become completely inoperable. Overdrive. A new combat ability that humanity acquired along with their mimeosome form. A similar system has been incorporated into Skell architecture. Trion Barrier. An energy wall deployed as part of the Lifehold Core's automatic defense system. Allegedly, it is not in fact human technology, but Clurian in origin. Quantum Mainframe. The center of the Lifehold Core, and the most technologically advanced computer humanity has ever created, in terms of both speed and capacity. It houses the memories and genetic makeup of the 20 million humans who escaped the Earth as part of Project Exodus. The data is stored away digitally inside the core. Protoplasmic Fluid. A microbial solution that allows bodily structures to be replicated from the genetic data stored in the Lifehold Core. Prog Ares. A new experimental model of Skell developed by Blade, which Lau illicitly commandeered. Ares. The first Skell, bestowed upon Earth by Elma. The Ares' technology changed the way humans understood science, arming them with a way to fight the ganglion. Furthermore, the Ares was not created by Elma and her people, but merely recreated based on records and relics from ancient Samar. Almandal. Goetia's blindingly nimble craft, built to combat alien Skells. Though its high mobility is optimized for close quarters combat, its tail-mounted drones allow for ranged attacks as well. Zoofarg, the ganglion's largest transforming Skell. In disc form, the Zoofarg can bend gravity to fly. Besides a deadly main cannon, it also houses a massive charged particle cannon in its head. To top it off, the powerful anti-material Gungnir cannon in its tail showcases that the Zoofarg was built primarily to annihilate enemy strongholds. Piloted by Reese and Dagon. Vita, the ultimate Skell, created with technology unknown to both human and ganglion. The body is composed of dark matter, which the craft absorbs from its surroundings, far exceeding the output of any human-made Skell. Manned by Luxar, yet the craft's true master is a mysterious figure known only as the Great One. Vita, Void. The Vita serves to sustain Void in material form, acting as a vessel to manifest him in this universe, even as he remained trapped in the rift between worlds. Locations. Mira, an unknown planet not located on any star chart, now home to the survivors of Earth. Mira was named after a certain woman who devoted her life to the success of Project Exodus, choosing in the end to join Earth in its ultimate fate. Earth, third planet in humanity's native solar system. The Earth was caught up in a battle between opposing alien forces 2 years ago and subsequently destroyed. NLA, the white whale's residential unit, known as the Habitat, which broke off from the vessel, commonly called New Los Angeles, after the city on which it was modeled. Blade Barracks, a living space exclusively for Blade operatives, situated behind Blade Tower. Industrial District, a district containing industrial facilities such as those related to food production, as well as weapon and skill development. Commercial District, NLA's sole downtown district, populated with restaurants, galleries, cafes, clothing and grocery stores, and more. Residential District, a district which provides housing for the people of NLA, includes a park, cathedral, and other common amenities. Administrative District, the nerve center at the heart of NLA, this district holds the Administrative Tower, home to Blade HQ and the government, as well as Armory Alley and the Blade Barracks. Blade Tower, the nerve center of NLA, housing Blade HQ. Mimeosome Maintenance Center, a facility for maintaining and repairing mimeosomes. So long as the core is intact, lost limbs can be replaced as needed to restore the MIM to working order. Primordia, one of Mira's continents. Many of the units which constituted the White Whale landed here, named thusly because it was the first place on Mira upon which humanity set foot. Noctilum, a densely forested region to the west of Primordia. The abundance of bioluminescent plant life illuminates the land come nightfall, hence the name. Oblivia, a rocky, rugged region to the east of Primordia. What appears to be multiple relics from an ancient alien civilization have been sighted there, but whatever intelligent life forms might once have created them are long gone, their work lost to the sands of oblivion. Sylvalum, situated north of Primordia, Sylvalum is an otherworldly region carpeted in white sand, its landscape dotted with twisting outcrops and eerie structures, a luminous forest, as it were. Caldros. Found to the north of Sylvalum, this hotbed of volcanic activity flows with scorching lava, yet numerous ruins of some ancient alien civilization still stand. Lifehold Unit. A piece of the lifehold that fell away from the White Whale as it crashed down. Seeking out these units is one of Blade's primary objectives. Lifehold Core. The Lifehold's central unit, where human bodies are stored. Even if someone loses their mimeosome body, it's possible to switch to a new one, but the Lifehold Core is the only place in which the reset process can be initiated. Lifehold Core, declassified. Human bodies were not in fact stored within the Lifehold Core. The truth is that humans' consciousness had been uploaded to a quantum mainframe. The database that should have stored their consciousness, however, was found to have been destroyed and had ceased functioning even before the White Whale crashed on Mira. Volataris, an airborne continent which emerged in the skies above Mira at the same time Void did. Reminiscent of a rocky reef, ancient Sumerian relics still rest upon its fragmented floating islands. Keywords: ECP, Project Exodus. The Earth Life Colonization Project, or Project Exodus, was a plan to use interstellar ships to leave Earth and set out into space in search of a habitable planet. Project Exodus, declassified. The real form that Project Exodus took was to send out arks carrying banks of genetic data of all life on Earth, so that they might someday flourish again on another world. The mimeosomes would escort this system to a safe new home to lay the foundations of a new society, and using the stored genetic data, effectively reboot humanity, and indeed, all of Earth's living organisms. Skell License. A license which permits a person to pilot a skell. Given that a skell could become a heinous weapon in the wrong hands, Blade HQ has stringent measures put in place, requiring applicants to first pass a rigorous evaluation process. Blade Tower Readout. The display on Blade Tower counts down the remaining time before the Lifehold loses power. Should it hit 0, the human bodies frozen in cold sleep would be as good as dead. Samar. Race. A race that arrived from another plane at the dawn of the cosmos, from which humans and Elma's race are descended. Dematerialization. A phenomenon that occurred spontaneously all across Mira, erasing any and all matter caught in its radius, silencing even electromagnetic waves. Rift Between Worlds. A special space that exists between parallel dimensions. According to Al, who named the place, it feels like the backstage of space. Parallel dimensions. Countless dimensions which exist outside of the one we inhabit. Their existence was proven through the analysis of the mystery packets of data that the Ares received while in the rift. The second Project Exodus. A plan to escape Mira before dematerialization consumes it all by engaging the White Whale 2's jump drive and warping to a new universe. Ares' cores. 6 cores installed in the Ares, which command levels of energy vast enough to bend space-time. As such, they are able to warp a given object into another universe. Ares' cores. Declassified. Ares' cores were the product of Void's research, formed by resolving the power of the ultimate matter, dubbed the Conduit, into its component elements. Shackles of Samar. Giant spear-like restraining mechanisms created by the ancient Sumarians, which served to bind Void's power. Tyrant. A designation for any indigenous life form that poses a special threat. Even some of Blade's very best teams have returned with serious injuries after encountering a tyrant in the field. Tainted. Abnormal variants of common creatures found only in certain parts of Noctilum. They attack and devour anything, save for other tainted creatures, and mims, which are inorganic. Telethia. Said to be Mira's guardian and color of unclean life forms, the Telethia is also known as the ruler of fates, rumored to have mind-reading abilities. The creature's vast wings also have the ability to amplify and manipulate ether in the surrounding atmosphere.